When there are several countries with excess deaths and the only 3 causes that have increased are no diagnosis, cardiovascular, and brain damage, it makes you think. Well, I'm old enough to remember no es nada. Once upon a time, theys, denied that there was excess death. They denied that there was excess death in 2021 over 2020. They denied it. I couldn't find any concrete, hard fact check. If anyone has one, please tag me and send it to me. No, total deaths are not up 2021 over 2020. I do remember them saying it for self-harm issues. No, self-harm is not up. It's actually gone down, surprisingly. Yeah, they corrected that not so fast. CBC still hasn't corrected that. And like you need someone with half a brain to tell you a lie. Oh, self-harm is down. It's a very convenient thing, even though distress calls are up 200%. They think we're stupid. And they think we'll never find out the truth. And by the time they disclose the truth, it's buried underneath their months and sometimes years of lies. So the excess deaths. On to subject matter 2. I'm going to pull up the... which one was it? We're gonna have a we're gonna have a lighthearted break and go after Gavin Newsom, that raging hypocrite. We're gonna go after Gavin Newsom for a second for legit stuff. Here, this was one of them. I want to see if this is. I'll click on the link. This is my post on the Twitterverse, my running diary, my running real-time diary. This is from a fact checker who actually thinks they are successfully debunking misinformation. An article shared on Facebook claims deaths among boys are 83% higher than the 5-year average since the Fauci. That was the claim. Now you'll see here that there are 2 elements of the claim, which is why in law, I always say if you're going to do a good deposition or you're going to conduct a meaningful, effective deposition, don't confound multiple facts in one question, because it allows people to deny the aggregate overall statement because they can plausibly, legitimately deny one element of it. So here you have 2 claims. Deaths are 83% higher, and the reason for which is attributed to that. The article published, we're going to go to the actual article. This is just my highlighted. The article published by the expose suggests that since children over the age of 12 began getting the Fauci in September, more children in that age group, and boys in particular, have sadly passed away when compared with the average figures of 2015 to 2019. The article claims that the deaths may have been caused by a certain condition. While the article accurately reports these mortality figures, end it right there and stop right there and just understand what this fact checker just said. 83% higher than the 5-year average. They just confirmed that the statistic, not the causal connection, is true. There's no evidence that suggests any of these deaths. There's no evidence that links any of these deaths to certain conditions. Oh, and by the way, here's what they did here. There's no evidence that links it to A, B, or C. How do I go back? I don't like this. I don't want to do that. There's no evidence that links it to A, B, or C. What did they do here? If there's evidence that links it to either A and maybe B, but not C, that statement sort of becomes mildly true. It would have been better if it was and not or. But here, throw 3 things in and say there's no evidence that connects it to any of them or all of them. And if there's no evidence that connects it to one of them, it becomes a quasi-defensible statement. But the overall number is accurate. So they're not dying from what you said they're dying from. They're just dying. Sleep well tonight. The issue is what the number was, and you get into the numbers, the stats, what the group of analysis was. I'll click it. Full fact, by the way. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to close that down. Close this down. So here's your fact check. Here's your fact check, peeps. The number's right. Your purported reason, no evidence for. Carry on with your day. Nothing to see here. I don't know who's behind Full Fact. I'd like to go see who owns the website, see what organization is behind it, see what entities are behind it. I don't know. If anybody knows in the chat, I mean, this is the homework you have to do to make sure that you're not getting lied to in real time. See who's telling you what and whether or not it can be trusted. But can you believe that? False. No evidence. Oh, yeah. It's up 83% over the 5-year average ending right before all of this. But the causal connection is not there. And you know damn well that the argument is going to be it's not related to the Fauci juice. It's related to the Myshirona Cyrus. That's what accounts for it. Good luck disproving any of that. There is no justice in the world. The universe does not owe us justice. Justice is a human concept and therefore should not expect it from the universe. Humans want justice. The universe does not care. Well, how about this? The universe created humans. And therefore, justice is therefore a universal concept above and beyond humans. Ooh, checkmate, Brit. I'm going to see what your part 2 says in a second. With names like Soros, Fauci, Schwab, Monsanto, Gates, Sinclair Broadcast, Parrot Effect, I'll never trust media again. No, you shouldn't trust anybody. Like I don't. It sounds gross and it sounds cynical. I don't trust anybody. You establish trust over time, so you know the degree of skepticism that you need to adopt for any given source, and the greater the track record of trust, trustworthy information, you can adopt less scrutiny, but not no scrutiny. Like I trust Ezra Levant. I trust Rebel News. I still verify some of the stuff that they tweet because everybody gets caught. Everybody gets caught once in a while retweeting something that's factually incorrect that they didn't know. So, but the degree of scrutiny that you adopt when scrutinizing any given source is correlative to the amount of lies or inaccuracies that they have put out in the past. Principal pondering, without going back to the car, can't you try to timestamp these longer videos? Helps if we can go just watch the part that we're interested in when we don't have time to watch 2 hours. Principal pondering, for all those who don't know, I have a second YouTube channel, Viva Clips, which is where I put the clip down highlighted versions. Yeah, we're still. I'll go. Let me just put that in the chat. I've been putting the Viva Clips there, and it works. It's good. I mean, it's not as energetic. Some might even say it's digestible and not irritating. I'll put this here so you can all go. Anybody who wants to subscribe there. We're almost at 30,000 subs, and that's where I'm going to put the snipped up versions. Shorter clips, and also stuff that I just don't want to put on my main channel, like my montage, 5-minute montage of Justin Trudeau getting humiliated by members of European Parliament, and then having Canadian media say he got a standing ovation to a 3/4 empty room. See, Cameron, I said 3/4 empty and not 1/4 full. That displays my underlying perspective of the world at this time of my cycle. Good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people are both incorrect in my opinion. It's just things happen. The cosmos cares nothing for us or our lives. Well, I take it one step further, or I see it a different way. Bad things happen to good people, but good things do not happen to bad people, because even when a good thing happens to a bad person, it's still a bad thing. And it's not going to help that bad person. So I don't know what would make it a good thing. Like winning the lottery, it's not a good thing for a bad person. What's the bad person going to do with that? They're going to continue being bad. Also, I'm not sure that winning the lottery is inherently good, but whatever. Hold on. What was the good one? Candace? I remember. I said it. Now I forgot what it was. Damn it. Doesn't matter. So that's the fact check on, don't worry, people. 83% increase in deaths among young people. But don't worry, it's not because of that. And by the way, does anyone think that proves a point? I've been saying from the very beginning, and not that I'm so smart, because I sort of leached this knowledge off of Barnes and other people who are smarter than me. I said François Legault's lockdown measures have killed more children than COVID. And then someone said, how do you know that? I said, I know that because even by Canadian standards, I think it was 14 or 19 deaths under 19 have been attributed to COVID of people under 19. And that's even assuming that the attribution is correct, because we now know that awful person out of Alberta, what's her name? Blonde hair, meticulous disinfecting of the hands, not Horgan. Someone's going to get it in the chat. Attributed the death of a 14-year-old boy, the youngest in Alberta, to COVID. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention he had stage 4 brain cancer and was in a coma, literally. Who was it? What's her name? I can't remember her name. Viva, have you heard the government trademarked the flag? I have not heard that. I'm going to go look into that. That would be interesting. So I said, Francois Legault, through his lockdown measures, have killed Dina Hinshaw, have killed more children than COVID itself. It's an indisputable fact. It's an indisputable fact. And I'm not going to go into, I'll get upset again. The personal things personal experiences of young people who have done very bad things to themselves, irreversible things to themselves out of distress. Personally, I know multiple, more, if not more than the official number of people under 19 who have died attributed to COVID in Canada. Very, very close. Britt Cormier, the universe created humans. I think not. We are part of the universe, but the universe does not know who we are. That does not know we are who we are. So it did not create us. We are just living in it. I'm happy to have this conversation at some point in the future, but now I have to go to work. Britt, thank you very much. Especially, thank you for everything. Thank you for being. You've been here for a long time, and I remember. Thank you for the support. And yes, look, I think we're saying the same thing, but with different words. And ultimately, at the end of the day, a distinction without a difference. Because nothing changes how we should act. God or no God, greater powers or no greater powers, nothing changes how we should act while we are on this earth. So yeah, imagine saying, okay, there's a twofold increase in deaths among a demographic, but it's not from that. So go on with your day and don't blame us for being responsible for it, even though I think it's objectively, undeniably, indisputably true that these government policies have brought about more demise in demographics where there would not have otherwise been had they done this properly. And you imagine also, just appreciate cutting short a life of a 15-year-old with however many human years that individual probably had left, so as to protect ostensibly and do it badly someone who is already at end of life, 70, 80 years old, maybe had 6 months left anyhow, maybe had 3 years left. How do you measure this? Is it life for life? Is it aggregate years compared to aggregate years? Or is it just a logical approach to mitigate bad consequences in order to achieve the purported objective results? Yesterday's live stream with Dr. Rish was amazing, by the way. If I may say so myself, it wasn't long enough. I could have gone easily for 3 hours, easily for 4.5 hours, but we had a time constraint, which was actually on my end. But Dr. Rish said he's going to come back on, and we might get other fascinating doctors to come in and have a group discussion. But the one thing that Dr. Rish mentioned that I had never thought about was that in the early stages of this pandemic, when they were intubating and putting people on ventilators, and people knew relatively quickly that was causing more harm than good, I had never appreciated that one of the reasons for which people might have done that, doctors, nurses, and medical practitioners, was because everyone was so terrified that they were trying to prevent transmission of what they thought was airborne transmission. And so ventilating and intubating was the way that they thought they could treat these patients without exposing themselves or the staff to the Rona. Never even thought about that. Seeing some chats with which I might agree that I will not be bringing up. Allegedly criminal. No legal advice, no defamation. Allegedly criminal. Alleged nature lover. Okay, I said I might agree. Alleged. I was having discussed with Dr. Rish. There are things that do not make sense. They cannot make sense, but for very, very beyond incompetence reasons.